Welcome back. Today, we follow raw, salted hides through an intense industrial transformation. Transforming these biological materials into uniform, durable textiles requires massive force and precise chemistry. The process begins on the factory floor, where mechanical claws load the heavy pelts into a wooden tanning drum to reverse the curing process. Inside the sealed drum, constant agitations breaks down impurities and expands the hair follicles. An alkaline ash soak forces the dense protein structures to relax, preparing the hide for mechanical stripping. The saturated hides are hoisted onto an overhead conveyor to drain. Once spread flat on the cutting tables, heavy pressure rollers shear away the remaining subcutaneous fat and connective tissue. This leaves only the dense dermal fiber layer, establishing a clean foundation for the tanning chemicals to penetrate. A high-precision splitting machine divides the heavy material into precise layers. As the hide feeds through the rollers, a concealed horizontal blade separates the natural top-grain surface from the underlying split leather in a single pass. This separation allows each layer to be optimized for different tensile strengths and finishes. The split leather returns to the drums for a controlled chrome tanning process. Operating at a constant temperature, the chromium salts fully cross-link with the collagen fibers. This chemical stabilization halts natural degradation completely, yielding the distinctive, uniform state known as wet blue. Before the thickness can be refined, The wet blue leather must undergo mechanical extrusion dehydration. The heavy green press forces out excess liquid under immense pressure, strictly controlling the moisture content across the entire surface. Consistent hydration levels prevent warping and ensure the material behaves predictably during the abrasive leveling steps that follow. A shaving machine handles the final gauge correction. Rotating bladed cylinders scrape away microscopic layers from the flesh side, correcting natural thickness deviations and leaving a uniform profile. Once leveled, the hides enter another heavy wooden drum for deep dyeing. Workers load the pale blue sheets alongside aggressive chemical dyes and granular salts. The rotational torque forces these compounds deep into the dense fiber matrix, shifting the color profile permanently. Fatliquoring oils are introduced alongside the pigment to nourish the stripped collagen. Over several days of continuous tumbling, these specialized lubricants replace the natural animal fats, significantly enhancing the physical toughness and suppleness of the finished hide. Hours later, the saturated, deeply dyed hides are hoisted onto an overhead track. This vertical drying system leverages ambient airflow to distribute moisture evenly as the leather slowly cures, laying a stable foundation for the final surface conditioning. Drying often leaves leather stiff and prone to warping. To counter this, a vibrating staking machine mechanically flexes the material. The heavy internal pins strike and stretch the fibers, breaking the rigid chemical bonds formed during drying to restore natural resilience. The surface is then meticulously sanded by an industrial buffing machine to raise a fine, dense suede nap. Afterward, a dry tumbling drum softens the hides further. This enclosed cage system beats out the residual sanding dust and surface impurities, creating a remarkably clean, tactile finish. Achieving absolute color consistency requires one final pass. Pigments are mixed to match strict customer specifications and loaded into a professional spray booth. As the tan suede travels flat on a wire conveyor, an automated mechanical arm delivers an atomized mist across the surface. This controlled application corrects minor visual defects and ensures a perfectly even hue that deep dyeing alone cannot guarantee. The treated leather undergoes one last dry tumble to set the spray finish. The heavy hides emerge limp and entirely relaxed, bearing little resemblance to the rigid, salted pelts that arrived on the factory floor. The finishing stages rely on precise measurement. An automated sensor array calculates the exact surface area of each hide, tracking the yield before the edges are manually trimmed. In the end, industrial processing operates as a system of controlled destruction and refinement. The harsh chemical baths and heavy presses strip away the organic chaos, leaving behind a stable, uniform textile ready to endure decades of use.